So as already some of you know from me kind of introducing him earlier on, Dan's been a member of the Rotary Club for 3 years, so he's a comparative newbie, I guess, compared to most of us. He's the current president-elect, director of Whitby, this is a mouthful, director of Whitby Environmental Action Committee, which is a new committee that started July 1st in last year, 1920. Member of District Environmental Action Committee. And on a personal note, he's retired from a role in corporate communications. He consulted in organisational governments and is a member of 5 non-for-profit organisations. He's on boards of directors, including the Rotary Club of Whitby, and he coached all 3 children in soccer, otherwise known as football, and hockey before joining Rotary. So Dan, it's all yours.
Well, thanks very much, Gordon. And thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of the District Environmental Action Committee. And I'll refer to it as the EAC from here on out. And I head up the Whitby Environmental Action Committee. We started that up just this past year. There's not too many clubs in the district that have a committee at present focused on the environment. I'd say about 12%, but there is a lot of interest, and I actually helped the Uxbridge Club to set up their club just recently. So let's talk about the Great Lakes Watershed cleanup event. And I'm going to share my screen now. So I'm hoping that everyone can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not to bore you, Gordon, but I'm going to give much of the same presentation that I did to Mark's district president's meeting the other night.
Yeah, well, that's good.
So the Great Lakes Watershed cleanup event is scheduled for April 24th. That's a little less than 8 weeks away. So District Governor Mark Chipman asked the District Environmental Action Committee to coordinate the event on behalf of the entire district. And his marching orders were to speak to all of our clubs with one unified message. So I'm just going to tell you briefly what we have done at the district level and how that folds out to each of the clubs. So going on to the next slide. First, what we did is we developed a how to prepare for the event club guide and what it is. And I sent that off to Gordon. He has it in his possession. It's essentially an organizational checklist, such as what materials you will need, how to pick a location, how to develop a social media strategy if you'd like, how to involve local government for approval during these COVID times. And there's also a section on safety precautions and the like. Second, we summarized everything down into a 2-page, 2-minute pitch presentation that I will give to you guys in just a couple seconds. Thirdly, we divided the district into its 5 regions. You may or may not know, we do have 5 regions. We have East, Durham region, and then GTA is divided into GTA East, Central, and West. And we have 10 members in our district EAC committee, and so we assigned 2 EAC members to each region, and Emerald is one of your coordinators that was assigned to your region.
Right, with Dora.
So fourth, we worked with Dave Andrews, who's the head of public image and is responsible for our district newsletter. We worked with him to advertise the event in the district newsletter itself. And fifth, we're right on the cusp of rolling out a well-considered social media campaign right across the district. And this will include some educational materials about things like the importance of the Great Lakes and the importance of the Great Lakes Basin, and obviously focused on cleaning up refuse that attracts itself to the Great Lakes Basin region. So let me take this opportunity right now to give that 2-slide, 2-minute pitch presentation that I just referred to. So District 7070 and the Environmental Action Committee is leading the Great Lakes Watershed cleanup event as it gets rolled out right across the region. The initiative was hatched by our District Governor, Mark Chipman, with his fellow DGs surrounding the Great Lakes. So there's tremendous excitement about the potential for this event. And it's actually huge. There's 15 districts involved, which is 800 plus clubs in 2 provinces and 8 states. And it's upwards of 24,000 Rotarians that could be involved in this event. So our very own Valerie Wafer, who is based, or not based anymore, but she was originally a part of our district and a former district governor, and RI President Holger Knack are both very supportive of what has become an international collaborative project. So please, again, mark your calendars for April 24th. So we're billing it as a great opportunity for fellowship. It's a means by which to get outside, if done safely, with physical distancing and wearing masks and the like, an opportunity for fellowship outside with the members of our clubs that we haven't necessarily seen face to face in a while. It's also, as a part of what we do as Rotary, it's a great opportunity to invest sweat equity in our community and to welcome spring. Hopefully the weather has turned very nice by that time. We also think of it as an extraordinary public image opportunity to demonstrate and record in pictures and or video Rotary in action, and to put those pictures and videos, whatever the case may be, on our social media feeds and website. And it also matches up well with one of our district's Environmental Action Committee's goals, which is to bring significant community attention to the importance of environmental sustainability. So where there's talk of some form of friendly competition among clubs and districts with some form of recognition, details yet to be worked out. But I know that Mark has ordered t-shirts, at least up to this point in time. So turning to the next slide, here are your contacts. Ann Morall, who's on the call with us today. Right. There is his email address, and Ann Morall is from Toronto Danforth. Dora Attard is also working with Ann Morall. She's in the Beaches Club. She wasn't able to attend today's meeting because of work obligations. And there's my email address as well, if you need to have that there. So what I'd like to do right now is unshare this screen and reshare the actual guide. And I'm just going to go through this very quickly. Gordon has this. I don't know if he's circulated it around as of yet, but this is the guide. This is sort of the checklist. The first page is just some pretty pictures and the like. But the second page starts as, well, why are we actually doing this waste cleanup? Why is it important? Why is Rotary involved in doing something of this nature? Further down, there's a section on what I call the little details. So some guidelines on duration, some ways to organize. The intensity and effort is medium. So there's bending and kneeling and all that good stuff. The materials required are actually quite minimal. Gloves, You can pick up garbage pickers if you like. We got ours at the dollar store. They don't last very long, but they also are available at Canadian Tire and hardware stores, and some collection bags. So the cost is small, and there may be an opportunity to bring some drinks and snacks for anyone who's able to come out. Getting ready, this section is just, it's a really good idea to assign an event, what I'll call as an event champion, someone who's going to coordinate on behalf of your club and be tied in with our district contacts like Ann Morrell and Dora. We have a sign-up list as well, included in part of the package. And the reason for that is if there is a competition, the competition will likely be based on the number of participants. It's not of who can get the most people out. It's a matter of who you're working with Mark to potentially for every club and for every member and or friend who participates in the cleanup, Mark may donate a tree sapling for planting in your community. That is not finalized as of yet, so I'd ask you just to keep that amongst us chickens. But it's also a good idea to have the number of people involved, have them committed, and then we know how many T-shirts to order as well. Choosing a location is important, obviously. It may be obvious to you, it may not be obvious to you. But I don't think your club in any way, shape, or form borders on Lake Ontario, but there's all sorts of other opportunities to clean up creeks or pond areas or even a park. The main thing is to get out and do some cleanup. If you're looking for ideas, there's this great website. It's called the Great Canadian Shoreline Cleanup, and they have ideas about all of the tributary streams and rivers and whatever the case may be in the Great Lakes Basin. So if you were to go into this website and scroll down to an area called I Want to Lead a Community Cleanup, type in the date April 24th and type in your location, type in Scarborough, for example. I've used the example of Port Hope, but that website will spit out a number of different locations. For example, when I keyed in Port Hope, it spit out these 3 locations for that club to consider. The only other thing I'd suggest is that once you choose your location or as a part of the choosing process, check it out, go there, see what kind of parking and accessibility and whether there's a lot of garbage to be picked up. But the most important thing, particularly in this COVID era, is to reach out to your local government, reach out to your municipality. Where Scarborough's within the bounds of the city of Toronto, I understand. So I know some of the clubs that I've already spoken to are reaching out to the city. There is uncertainty at this point in time around COVID and our ability to do this, at least in some parts of the district. So here's some scripting for when you talk to the government. And of course, then there's a safety section here that you can read at your leisure. And here's the presentation I just gave, and there's the member sign up list, etc. So I'll unshare now and ask if there's any questions at this point.
I have just one very formalistic questions. You said 2 provinces and 8 states. So which other province other than Ontario would that be? Because the Great Lakes have no other connection to Ontario, other than Ontario.
I believe that we are stretching up into
St. Lawrence.
The St. Lawrence River and can claim that Quebec will be involved.
Dave Hardy, you got a question?
Yeah, I think this is a great initiative.
Just wondering if you come across a shopping cart or a tire, what do you do about that?
A good question. What we've done some cleanups in Whitby so far this year, and what we've done is we've gathered up all the garbage, and if we could put it in a garbage container, we would. We did a large cleanup of an adopt a road thing that we do, and we actually bundled all the garbage up in one location, and the municipality came and picked it up. If there is something that's large, such as a shopping cart or a tire, I would just, unless it's easy to move it to the location where you're gathering up your garbage, I would just leave it. Potentially let the municipality know that there is an item of that nature wherever you're doing your cleanup.
When I wrote down.
Anybody else got any questions? No?
I have a question. Do we separate the stuff into recyclables and garbage, put it separately so that the municipality can come and pick them up?
Yes, we considered that. I think logistically it's very difficult. If your club wants to try and do that and bag up recyclable versus refuse separately, I would encourage you to do so, but we are not giving any direction otherwise. Just collect the garbage, put it in bags, and have it be. The main thing is that we're getting garbage away from the shoreline and from creeks and from rivers.
In spring, won't these rivers, etc., be running pretty fast? Would they be a bit dangerous in those areas?
Those are the types of things that we'll need to consider as we get closer, for sure. Safety is paramount, and if we can all be within the region, be flexible around our locations. If it comes down to simply cleaning up a park somewhere, that may be what we have to do.
Dan, do you know if any of the other Scarborough clubs have said they're going to do anything with this at the moment? Because obviously we should try and coordinate with them, I guess.
That would be a fantastic idea. I haven't spoken with any of the other Scarborough clubs as of yet.
Okay.
So if you have contacts in the other Scarborough clubs, by all means, reach out to them. We're rolling this out right now. The start was at Mark's president's meeting, and this is one of the first meetings that we've had with the club directly to speak about it. So I know we're just 8 weeks away, but we are just in the initial rollout stages. So if you know folks in the other Scarborough clubs, by all means, reach out to them and see what you can do together, perhaps.
Okay.
I know in Whitby we have the 2 clubs in Whitby, and we've started meeting to coordinate to make sure that we don't end up in the same place.
Yeah, because that's what, of course, we got to be careful of, so to speak. So.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Okay. Basil, can you thank Dan, please? Officially, you're on mute.
President Gord, it would be my pleasure. Dan, I know that Rotary started the environmental group some time ago. We haven't really gotten involved recently. In the good old days, we used to be doing park cleanups with kids from elementary schools when Scarborough was Scarborough. once it became amalgamated with Toronto, Parks and Recreation weren't that interested in having a bunch of old fogies go and plant trees and spread manure. So today we just spread the manure. But then this is a really interesting concept in getting multi-districts and multi-clubs involved. It shows that Rotary is doing a lot to keep us together during this pandemic. And we thank you for speaking to us and for what you're doing for the District Environmental Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Basil. My pleasure to join the club today.
Thank you, Dan. Now, thank you, Basil, as well.
Yeah, Gordon.
Yes.
I see that we have another guest here.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. Yes.
Yeah, and this is a duo happiness Osezi, and this is his second time at our meeting, and he's thinking of joining the club.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you again, Dan. You can go, but we are doing Rotary stuff, so to speak, now. But if you want to hang around, by all means do so. And you, and Moral, if you want to hang around, you're very welcome. But otherwise, we understand if you have to disappear somewhere.
No, I would love to stay around, but I do have another obligation to get to. So thank you very much for giving me the time to speak to you today.
Okay.
And again, don't, you know, Amber, now you've got the email address.
Right.
So reach out to us. We're here to help.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.